Edward Swan arrived in Forks with rain clinging to the windshield and a quiet resignation in his heart. His mother, Elizabeth, had decided to move to Florida with her new husband. He, less fond of heat and more drawn to shadows, preferred to stay with his father, Charlie Swan, the police chief of the small town where the sky always seemed on the verge of tears. He didn't expect to find anything interesting. No friends, no peace, not her. Forks High School was exactly as he'd imagined, small, gray, filled with furtive glances and conversations about nothing. Until he saw her. Bella Cullen. She wasn't like the others. Porcelain skin, ink-black hair, dark eyes, nearly bottomless. She dressed as if no era could touch her. There was something classic, silent, eternally sad about her figure. And the strangest thing, no one dared to talk to her. "Don't go near the Cullens," Eric said during lunch. "They're weird. Pretty, yes, but not from this world." Edward looked at the table where 5 perfect figures sat without touching their food. There were 2 couples who didn't hide their affection. And then, at the end of the table, Bella, alone, with an open book, but not reading it. Her eyes met his for only a second, and in that second, Edward felt cold. They shared biology class. He sat next to her like divine assignment, and she avoided him, didn't speak, didn't look, but gripped the desk as if trying to contain something invisible. After class, Edward went to the parking lot. It was drizzling. Then it happened. A car lost control, spun on the wet asphalt, headed straight for him, and in less than a second, a figure pushed him aside, strong as steel, cold as marble, fast as lightning. Bella Cullen. "How did you do it?" he asked the next day. "I don't know what you're talking about," she replied. "I saw you. You were far away. Then suddenly, you were there." She only looked at him, and for the first time, Edward noticed her pupils dilating when she looked at him, as if he were dangerous or delicious. Edward began researching old books, stories, legends, and in every tale of eternal, beautiful, fast, cold beings, the same names appeared. "Vampires?" he whispered. He didn't believe it, but he had no better explanation. Bella confronted him one afternoon, finding him by the forest path. "What are you doing?" "I want answers," she sighed. "What if you don't like them?" "Then at least I'll know the truth." Silence. Then, without warning, Bella walked into a shaft of sunlight filtering through the leaves. Her skin shone, like diamond, like carved glass. Bella became something impossible. Edward trembled, not from fear, but from awe. "What are you?" "I'm what you fear, and what you want to understand. A mistake that doesn't age, a sigh trapped in time. I'm Bella Cullen, and I'm 100 years old." The rest was harder. The confession, the thirst, the struggle against it. The story of her family, Carlisle, Esme, Rosalie, Emmett, Alice, Jasper, the vegetarians, the different ones, and her warning, "You shouldn't be near me, Edward." Why? Because every fiber of my being screams for your blood, and every shadow in my heart starts screaming for you. But Edward didn't walk away, not when Bella disappeared for days after a storm, not when Jasper eyed him warily, not even when Alice, barely knowing him, said, "You're meant to change her." "Change her how?" Alice didn't answer, but Edward knew she didn't mean to turn her, but to make her feel alive. Then the others came, nomadic vampires, Victoria, James, Laurent, and one of them caught Edward's scent, and everything changed. It was no longer about attraction or mystery. Now it was a hunt, and Bella Cullen, who had hidden for a century, would have to decide whether she'd break every rule for a human boy who made her tremble for the first time. But what no one knew, not even Bella, was that Edward wasn't just human, because something slept in his blood, something that only awakened when she touched him, something that, when looking at the moon, seemed to remember. And when James tried to hunt him, Edward didn't run, didn't flinch. His eyes glowed, and for a moment, he didn't seem so mortal. The night James attacked, there was no moon, only thunder and fire. Edward and Bella were in the Cullen study, arguing over whether to flee or fight. "You don't understand what James is," Bella said, her eyes blazing. "He's ancient, relentless. When he picks prey, he doesn't stop. Then tell him I choose to be the hunter, not the prey." "You don't know what you're saying. And you don't know who I am." Edward's shout shook even Jasper, who was downstairs. And for the first time, Bella saw something, a glint behind Edward's eyes. Not red, not gold, silver, like old legends, like something yet to be told. When James attacked, he didn't come alone. Victoria had helped prepare the field. Laurent wasn't with them, He'd left. He feared Bella, feared what she could do if she lost control. The battle began in an old factory on the outskirts of Port Angeles. Emmett and Rosalie intercepted Victoria. Alice and Jasper flanked James. Bella took Edward to the roof, to safety. But James never stopped following the scent. He appeared without sound, like a shadow, like smoke. And when Bella stepped in, she was hurled against a wall with brutal force. Edward screamed and ran to her. But then when James leapt, something changed. Edward extended his hands, and a surge of wild, invisible electric heat burst from his chest. James was thrown back, screaming, his skin cracked like ceramic in fire, as if Edward's body, his blood, his bones, were unnatural to his kind. Bella, injured, watched in horror and awe. Edward trembled. His heart beat impossibly fast, and his silver eyes shone like they mirrored every star in the sky. I don't know. It took Carlyle days to explain, with ancient tomes and forgotten texts. Humans have shared blood with vampires in ancestral rites. Usually, it kills them. But sometimes, a line is marked, dormant for generations, until a vampire awakens it. Edward was a descendant of one of those failed hybrids, of a union that never should have happened. But now, it reactivated. Bella hadn't turned him, nor bitten him, but her presence, her touch, her voice had caused Edward Swan to be reborn as something new. Not vampire, not human, something more. The Volturi found out, and soon sent a message, not a threat, just one sentence. If a new bloodline is born, we want to see it up close. Bella and Edward left, not out of fear, but because they were no longer just forbidden lovers. They were now proof that something else was possible, that love can break the biological rules of the world. And not all monsters are born from fangs. Some are born from the heart. They lived far away, among shadows and cloudy skies. Alice visited sometimes, so did Seth. And in an old cabin by the lake, Edward wrote. "What are you writing?" Bella asked. "Our story, in case one day others feel they don't belong." Bella smiled. "And how does it end?" He looked at her. "It doesn't, it only begins.